Hello everybody, welcome back to the WeTransform show, a show which is coming back after a couple of months, a place where we meet real life transformers and know their stories in the first person. Because we believe that everybody can transform. We all can go from where we are to where we want to be. It just needs to start the journey. Today we have with us Brigadier Jayant Tiwari, Shaurya Chakra, who has given 4 decades of his life to Indian Army. He's a leader, a mentor, an InnerMost shift coach. What it means, I'll ask him only. And he is a person who is inspiring many people in the work he is doing. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brigadier Jayant Tiwari to the show. Welcome Jackie to the show.
So hi Alok, it's such a great pleasure of being with you today. We have been of course thinking of meeting on this platform for a long time. Indeed, it's a great pleasure for me to share my thoughts or whatever my life has been. And I'm grateful to you for that. Let's have a beginning and let's start this show.
Absolutely. And that's you, as you said the word beginning. I'm really curious to know the beginning of your story. Tell us something about your start, your beginning, and what inspired you to join the Indian Army in the first place.
Well, I think it's a very wonderful question. I think this question arises with every one of us. It's nothing that, when I have joined army or you are in a one profession or someone else is in a different profession. Yes, somewhere, some things in your minds have an effect. And in the process of maybe your alignment to your studies, your culture, your value system, the surroundings, probably we attempt in going. And one important factor is finding a job certainly is there. Of course, it has to get aligned what you like, certainly. And that's where I was thinking on this question. I've been thinking on this issue most of the times that, because I'm likely to be asked such questions. And very truthfully, well, there was nothing of that sort that I wanted to join army as such. But yes, there have been certain correlations in my life. And I can share with you one incident when I recollect. This was in class 5, I suppose. And my father, being from army, we were posted in one of the cantonments. And I remember my Hindi teacher had asked all of us to write a story or something like that. Those days, we were told to write a letter to father. And it was in Hindi. So I had also written letter to father. And, in the evening, my teacher comes and says that after the classes, that I would like your father to come and meet me tomorrow. I said, okay. And I come back home and I tell my mother. And my mom asked me first question, hope you did not do anything wrong in the school. I said, no, I think that I was a very simple, docile type kind of a guy. I did not understand this as to why mom has asked me this. But I said, no. He just asked teacher. He said, but why should teacher ask your father to come to school? I said, I don't know. So anyway, it didn't bother me. And I went back to school next day and my father also came and asked me that, what did your teacher? I said, he just told me to call your father tomorrow. He said, kya hua tha? What had happened? I said, nothing, I don't know. It actually never struck me anything. I think I was very pure in my mind, I suppose, as a child. I might have been adulterated now, yes.
We all are.
So what happened that, I went back and we were there and suddenly I see my father and my class teacher walking into the classroom next day. And then he opens and he says that here, so-and-so, I got worried and my classmates all started, sounding, your father has come. I said, okay. And he opens that notebook of mine. And he reads that yesterday I had asked all of you to write a letter to father. And Jayant has also written. So it actually moved me. So I thought, let me call and show to his father. And Alok, when I say that I do not know as to why I joined army, but there was something was there in class 5. And what I had written in Hindi, but it was something that I wish to join military. And I want to serve the nation. And there was another line, कि मैं देश की ऐसी सेवा करूं कि मैं अपने प्राणों की आहुति दे सकूं. I sacrifice my life.
Okay.
Now, this was just line. It came up and it went off. Okay. This was in class 5. Things went on. You went on to school, college. My father was in army, and yes, he went to 71 war. We shifted to our village for 1 year. There was a break in our studies. My younger sister died during that time.
Oh,
My father was not there. That was the first time, probably, on the emotional or the family relation system, probably it had a dent on my life. When I had to cremate my sister. And I was very small, I think 9 years, 10 years.
and the father was in the war at that time.
Yes, father was, I think he was in Bangladesh that time.
Okay.
And this moved on. I think this is all culmination. I went to the college. And when I was in college, I was okay student. I was a science student. And I was thinking of doing my post-graduation and a research somewhere in microbiology. I'm very clear into that. I used to be very fond of reading, gene and, foreign author books. I used to take it and, I used to keep reading cell biology and how things function, how this works and all. But anyway, we applied, four of us, our friends, we applied for CDS exams. And we went and we three of us were there, and we three of us got through. And our practical exams and all were there, and we went for the SSBs, and we got through SSB. When we got through SSB, then we were selected. Now that is the time we realized, and I very distinctly remember coming back to mother and telling her that now we are selected. Should we join army?
Okay.
And my father was hearing. Of course, my father never scolded me, though he was a very strong character in himself. But he was, I think, nearby. He just walked in and he laughed at me, and he said, "No, it is what you are selected into." And I could never speak to my father. Maybe I think out of respect. Even till the time he remained alive, I could not look into his eyes like this straight and talk.
Okay.
I never. If he spoke something, even till the last breath of his, I had to listen. It was a gospel truth for me. And as we go through, I think I can always narrate. So that is how he said that it's so wonderful. You're going to be class 1 officer, You might be feeling that you have not put in any effort, but you have put in a lot of effort, okay?
Absolutely.
Without the effort, you wouldn't have passed. And passed the services selection board. So I told him I wanted to do research and I was thinking of doing this. He said, well, such conflicts are always there in life. Is this profession you are not liking? Tell me, then you should not join. I said, no, not at all. I love this profession. He said, why don't you? And that's where I joined IME. And no qualms about it. I think that was the thing. So when I say that I really didn't know whether I was going to join army or not. It was not that, yes, certain people who approach me today for mentoring them, that I'm focused to join army. I was not that focused, but yes, I loved every moment of being a army brat.
So it happened with the flow, you
Yes,
just went down and it just happened as any
And somewhere
person.
subconsciously it was there in class 5.
It was deep. A class 5 student writing that I want to sacrifice my life. मैं देश के लिए अपने प्राण अर्पण करना चाहता हूँ.
Yes.
It's a little deeper.
I recollect. And as we go on, because all these, why I made a mention that my writing that letter, my thinking about, doing microbiology, something related, my today's life or my earlier part of life in army, it all actually happened. It is happening. So that's what I say, that I think we are so unique and we all have everything in us. So that's what. Yeah.
Amazing story to know how you got into army, and there was a long journey, 4 decades, 40 years almost you gave it. But I'm really curious to know about the incident that got you the Shaurya Chakra. Would you like to share something about it, sir?
Yes, Alok, this was in 1996.
Okay.
And 1996, 31st of July, early in the morning. Okay. And we had gotten information, कोई ऐसी खबर आई थी, हम लोग को inputs आते थे, intercepts आते थे वहाँ पे.
Okay.
Some militants movements I was in Jammu and Kashmir. I was in the rank of major, and my age would have been around 34, 35 years. I was leading a team, and we got a message that a group of militants were there at some point. They had mentioned a point.
Where in Jammu and Kashmir? Which
This was in the Kupwara sector.
Kupwara.
There is a place known as Trehgam.
Okay.
And that is still, people used to say that it's a reasonable degree of militancy exists.
Okay.
So I was the company commander there, and we had our own shares of, virtually every day moving across and counter here and there. Those things are part and parcel. And so this was one of the days. Around 5 o'clock or so, one of my superiors called me. And he said that we have got an intercept like this, that there is some point known as 0 point. And they said that, there is an infiltration group of 12 militants of foreign mercenaries. They are passing through it here. And next day, tomorrow morning, they are likely to cross over to the other side, to the other areas in India.
Okay.
He said, what does it mean actually? We were trying to see to that. That senior was the rank of a brigadier. And I was a major. So we sat down and discussed. I said, sir, this two people, and the codes were known to us.
Acha.
The radio codes, the two guys talking were codes. I said, so-and-so code is of this, so-and-so, and so-and-so is this. They belong to this area only. So we could hit on that. He's saying, ki yaar, wahan pe aana and wahan pe aana. So we could just place some place. And some point, 0 point is a point. One really didn't know what is that point.
Acha.
In jungle, there was nothing known as it is that there are all code. But it was up to you. These things happen. So we decided, and we thought that, okay, there was a ridge line coming. Generally, in the infiltration, they used to adopt that particular ridge line, on the mountain top, thickly wooded. And then, there was a point where the mountain ridge used to take a turn and a dip. So I came to a conclusion. I said, sir, maybe one of the great possibilities, that this point where this ridgeline is turning and coming down to the Nala, they might be that. And this was just on top of these two guys who were talking.
Okay.
And one of those guy was so-called self-styled company commander, and one guy was a battalion commander.
Okay.
So I said, okay. I said, sir, okay. But anyway, so we have to try our so-called luck. So we launched the operation. I launched the operation in the night, and throughout the night we had to climb to reach on top. Now you have to attempt in a very, very difficult scenario. You can't actually approach when you know that in case they are there. And every step movement, someone is staying on top of a mountain quietly. Every movement, even a drop of a leaf is heard in the night.
Yes.
So that's where it is. We climbed from a different upper road and we reached early morning around 4:30. We remained lie dogo for the day to break. When the day broke, we climbed from the sea because I was very clear about that point. Though it might appear one point, but on the top of a mountain, that turn is a big area actually, if you see that way. Anyway, we went up, we carried out a search wherever it was there. And when you see the mountain from a distance, you can probably make out where is the ridge line, where is the tree line, all those. When you are inside the jungle, it's not so easy to actually decipher as to where you are. Are you on the right spot or not? So there are very small challenges which are there, which are of course part and parcel of us. So anyway, we carried out a search. We did not find anything. It was around, I think 6:45 or 7ish. And I said, what to do now? I was very clear. Of course, I knew that jungle in and out. I felt so.
Okay.
I said, okay. So I divided my party into 3. I said, okay, now let's roll down. Probably this is not the point. Or if this was the point, they might have left or they might have shifted to some other place, something of that nature. So I said, anyway, let's start rolling down. But before rolling down, that junction which was there, I said, we will scan once more.
Okay.
So I divided 3 parties and I told one party to be onto the right side, one party go on to the behind and follow the track. And I went little left side and, went ahead. When I went ahead, suddenly I heard a shout from behind. Okay. And one of my soldiers was shouting, something like that कि यहाँ पे कोई हैं, something like that.
Okay.
जोर से उसने चिल्लाया. तो मैंने बोला यार कि तुम अगर हैं तो fire करो. You see why this question comes up? That why someone has to ask this question. This is the trickiest moment. One has to be doubly sure that you do not fire unnecessarily. You also do not fire in excitement. You never know. Some villager might be there.
Yeah, it can be civilian.
Okay, someone might run away in the fear or something like that. Such errors may take place. So we have to be very, very careful. I said, yaar, tumko hai to fir fire karo. Something like that. And by the time I started moving up confidently to this man, and by the time I came, my light machine gun guy, we used to hold it on a shoulder with the almost charged that, you have to just press the trigger. He pressed the trigger and I think, by the time I came back, I said, yaar, tune kitna fire kar diya? And he showed and I gave him a slap also. So, I'm from Gorkha Rifles. My all soldiers are Gorkhas.
Okay.
So, this is there. I said, what had happened? He said, साहब यहाँ पे सामने. He said, सामने. तो मैंने कहा यार वो सामने में उसने अपना कुछ पठान सूट टाइप पहना हुआ था कुछ सिविल ड्रेस टाइप. I said, यार ये तो सिविलियन लगते हैं यार. तूने सिविलियन मार दिया.
Okay.
So he was, that Gorkha Jawan soldier was little quiet. He said, साहब वो पता नहीं ऐसा नहीं है साहब. I said, okay. So I confidently moved inside that patch.
Okay.
I moved inside one, and the second guy was also in the same dress, but he was drying. The first guy had died. The second guy was, I think, breathing. And I said that, yaar, tune civilian maar diya tune. And then I looked around. When I looked around, I saw huge rucksacks in combat color.
Okay.
All lined up like this in a circle. And then I jumped from there. I said, no, they are militants. And then I jumped and fell down, and then they opened fire. The militants somewhere opened fire. They were, I think, just prepared to now pick up their bags and leave.
Okay.
And that is the time we came face to face. And that is the time probably they got surprised. It is just a matter of moment.
Yeah.
Now here the engagement starts. They opened fire, we just kept quiet. Now everyone became professional, My one party was there. Probably they tried to run away. They might have, seen some people deployed there. One party was here. Now was the time for me, that so-called, you can call it whatever it is, the small-time leadership, this and that, or whatever it is. I had to take a call as to what should we do.
Yeah.
Then I went back, told my other team, and deployed this team little ahead, where I was ahead. I came back, and then I moved up a little bit. I initially fired inside that tent. It was a very small 50 yards by 50 yards bushy patch. Very thick bushes were there, and they were actually hiding in there. So I fired my light machine gun. We threw grenades. But these militants, they never opened a single round of fire.
Oh.
Yeah. So just kept quiet. Now the issue is what to do now next. And these are very common moments, okay? So I'm explaining that, the people are listening, they could have first, round of a feeling as well. Then one is that you can take a call that, a whole lot of 12 rucksacks are kept. A lot of, booties are there. I collect it. There are 2 militants who are killed. And happy, go back. It's a successful mission. Okay? Second is that I carry out a detailed search again. I said, no, let me carry out a search. Now here is that you have to take a call. It depends on the personalities. Now you have to enter that place where you have fired. You know that, you are also little sure that probably they might be hiding, because the third side, my party was also there. In case the militants are there, they would be seeing us because they are now static. Anyway, I entered with the less number of people. I was there, one of the dog handlers. We have a tracker dog with us. And so tracker dog, my radio operator, and 2 more Jawans. So I was in the leading. My one Jawan was next to me, and we were moving. So step by step, by sitting in the haunching position, we are moving from bush to bush, in literally firing position. If we see, because it's a very, very exceptionally close battle.
Yes,
it's just a chance. And suddenly what happens that the guy who was left to me, he fires as if he fires at me. And I said, and it's all in signal. He said, there was something, just in front of me, there was a bush, and there was a militant in front of me. I was actually sitting next to next. Probably militant was not seeing me or seeing me, I don't know. But this guy had seen and he had fired at him. It was very close. So this
Okay.
was the third militant. And then when we moved, I saw another one guy was there, fired, killed him. Now, when we moved, there was no movement. And the other militants, no one had fired.
Okay.
We again went into little open patch, little open. And I used to feel so-called brave that time because one has been into a lot of encounters and all. I feel that, that style of mine was probably would have, been very, very tricky for me. And I stood there and I started talking. I said, यार वो जो ट्रैकर डॉग वाला था, जो डॉग हैंडलर होते हैं हमारे, उनको मैंने बोला यार कि आप इधर आओ, इनका स्मेल कराओ ब्लड का.
अच्छा.
Because that dog will straight away take where are the militants are there.
Oh.
उनकी रक्सैक को स्मेल करा के. And he was a jawan. You can see that every person is important in the team. It was my decision. I would have told him, and when I told him, he said, "Sir, ट्रैकर डॉग जो है ना वो स्मेल करेगा, स्मेल बहुत स्ट्रांग है अभी. It will straight away lead you to the militant, whether he is in 1 kilometer away. And 1 kilometer away is still okay. But if that militant is hiding here close by, then this dog will straight away hit to him.
Yeah.
And we will follow the dog. We are likely to get into a trap. My advice is, I will not let the dog smell. Let us track and do little more search.
Acha.
And I agreed to his point of view. And then we saw that there was, there were little trail marks going one to the right and one little foot marks or something like that on the grass. So I told him that, you be on to the left side, and it was little uppish. So I went up. The moment I was coming up, and there were some guys immediately opened fire when we were talking this.
Oh.
And it was with the silencer versions of AK-47. So we could make out that this is a silencer version they are using for AK-47. The sound is little muffled.
Okay.
So when I went up and I was telling that guy who's the left कि ख्याल रखना यार ये इधर से ही किया था फायर. I was showing them that यहीं से करना, and what I see that there are two guys firing at me like this.
Okay.
They could see that I was little going up and they were just in front of me and they were firing at me like this up. The moment I see, when I was showing, instinctively कि यार यहाँ पे ख्याल रखना इधर से फायर हुआ, तो you are seeing there. And when I see them there, they are firing, and I very distinctly remember that they had fired at me.
Okay.
I was very close, maybe 7-8 feet maximum. The moment I see, I jumped back, I leaped, and I fell behind a tree, ahead of this Jawan who was next to me. I knew that today I was fired upon, I was shot because it was very close. When I fell down, I had a breathing. I tried to check myself. I thought that today probably I've been shot.
Okay. My
And
God.
I breathed, but I was perfectly breathing. And so I said, well, it is one of those days again that you have missed. Great guy type. You feel great about it.
Absolutely.
And
can feel that energy, sir.
So anyway, so what happened that, the moment I fell down, I realized that those militants I was fired upon. What had happened? Fortunately for me, and that's why people say that fortune favors the brave. I was behind the tree and those two guys were other side of the tree.
Okay.
And they were firing at me. They had fired some grenades also. Through AK-47, you can fire some direct firing grenades also.
Okay.
So they had fired those grenades, but fortunately it was not there. I kept firing like this, to the tree side, like, movie style. And then I finished my magazine. The magazine which was loaded onto the weapon. I finished my magazine, and so I wanted to change that magazine. So I removed that magazine like this, and I put my hand, looking at them, put my hand onto my chest where I had kept my magazine, spare magazine with the bullets. When I put my hand here, I suddenly realized that it is all wet and, magazine was not there. I could find a lot of roughness here. And when I looked at there, that magazine actually had taken the burst on my chest here.
Oh.
And the magazine had bursted. Magazine had actually bursted. And the bullets, I think, got fired or somewhere. And then I realized that this wetness was all because of the blood I could see that, my entire body, left side was all soaked in blood.
Okay.
That is the first time I realized that, I've been injured. And then, of course, I called for another magazine. The guy who was next to me, he crawled to me. He gave me a magazine. After 4 or 5 bursts, then I killed those 2 militants there.
Okay.
And then, of course, this was almost a culmination of we had killed 9 militants, and 4 bodies were recovered there. 9 militants were declared in the radio news of our adversaries in the night. And they had also declared that, they have killed Major Tiwari.
Like the news in Pakistan?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And this was told to me by my boss, and the locals also knew it. And the radio and the local newspapers also published my name, that so-and-so has been killed. Based out of that news.
Achha.
Well, I got evacuated directly to the hospital, and the locals could not see me. That, where am I? So they had all the reasons to believe that probably I died in that operation. But I was alive, of course, and it was a wonderful operation. And so that's what the operation was. I was the only person. I was the only person who was injured. And I used to always say that, this used to everyone has their own style mantra, I'll call it. Because sometimes you have to tell yourself that don't worry, you are brave, you can do it. So I used to always say that, as a youngster days, even when we were in Sri Lanka with the IPKF and other places, I say, yaar, jo mere saath chalega na, kisi ko goli nahi lagegi. And this actually happened. Never ever. We have been into so many ambushes, so many encounters. Not even a bullet had touched anyone. We had so much. And the first time a bullet touched was to me, and I was the leader of the team. I felt so proud of it. So anyway, these are the military type of emotions.
No, I'm just trying to relate because I get a chance to speak to so many leaders, and we often hear this thing that lead from the front, and leaders are those who get their hands dirty and get the job done. This is a literal example. You're taking a bullet and the team is there, you are standing in the front, literally. It's a great example.
Alok, I would like to, if you permit me, you see, there are so many issues because now when I'm into so-called in the domain where I am today, because we all do our action as part of our working. Nothing great about it. I'm supposed to do it. Okay? And what happens? Your bosses come and give you a good pat on your shoulder. You say, yes, youngster, you did well, okay? Great job. And the matter finishes. It does not carry on. Okay? Next day is a fresh day. It's nothing great about it. It's a part of this. But what I'm trying to say, that all these moments when I correlate, and this is how I think every person in army operates. Or let me put it, we all operate similarly in our daily lives. When you are in position of authority, we all operate in the same manner.
Okay.
Within the family, we all operate. It might not be encounter with militants, but अगर कोई भी decision होता है तो हम जिंदगी में लेते हैं ना.
Correct.
Conflicts होते हैं, and the father comes and say, अच्छा चलो आप बताओ, अगर बच्चे बड़े हैं तो बोलते हैं कि अच्छा आप बताइए, कोई बात नहीं, बताओ, अच्छा तुम बोलो, अच्छा शांत रहो यार, तुम तो बोलो ना, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. When he finds that, and he laughs at it, he say, यार सब कोई बात नहीं, तुम लोग यार, come on, you all are very good children. Okay, हम ऐसा करते हैं.
जी.
He does not say, यार कि कहाँ झंझट में पढ़ूं यार, मुझे जवाब देना पड़ेगा. Because whenever there's a moment of crisis is there, you are required then only. You are not required otherwise. Leadership, I felt that, it is those moments when you are needed. Otherwise, father is earning a bread, यार वो कहीं पे जा रहा है, नौकरी कर रहा है, ठीक है, it's all okay. But it's not that, he's not important. It's not that he's only earning money. No, it is not purely money. I think this is a part and parcel of our lives. It is whether daily life, whether family life, whether our corporate life, leadership, everywhere, you have to stand. And then you have to, that is where the trust becomes. And that's where the soldier, he is ready. If I tell him that go there, he doesn't think twice.
Correct.
No, he doesn't think twice. So that, I think that's a very good phenomena where I think we all go through our life. These are life lessons for everyone. And second is that, when we talk about, nowadays, I try and train people on mindfulness, mindset creation. It is so integral to every one of us, and more precisely, of course, being in army. I said, the mindfulness, I always tell, okay, हम लोग साधु संत को सोचते हैं कि वो लोग mindfulness status में होते हैं, बहुत शांत category में होते हैं. Yes, agreed.
Yes.
But then when I started reading, I said, I think there could not have been any person more mindful status than what that Fauji was. In spite of all that chaotic moments, so-called.
So I think people talk about pressure. This was extreme pressure. It's a matter of life and
you
death.
have to maintain total peace at your mind. Otherwise, you cannot take an action. You are so close in the battle. अगर आप शांत नहीं रहोगे ना, तो पता चला आप अपने ही सोल्जर को डर के मारे किसी और पे फायर कर दोगे. You have to be totally at peace. And this is not me as an officer. It is I'm talking about, just think about that dog handler.
Yes. He gave a
उसने
great
बोला
tip.
कि वो मेजर साहब को बोलता है, सर आपकी बात नहीं सही है, मैं जो बोलता हूँ आप मेरे एक्सपीरियंस की बात सुनो. He politely explained कि सर ऐसा ऐसा होता है. And of course I take little credit also. I accepted. I didn't say very nonsense. Do whatever I am telling.
Yep.
It would have been very fatal for me because I just followed him. That militant would have killed the dog handler, and killed me also. So what happens, do not know. But yes, and so that's how it is. I think it's a very good lesson when I talk today, of course. So that was the incidence, of course.
Now, this incident is really, I can safely call it a near-death experience. It was very close. And I believe the bullets you were injured were also from your own magazine. They went in this area, the left side of your body. It's very close to the heart. So it's a very close experience when you call it. Did it change something inside you, that experience?
Yes, I think I realized that life is so important. It is always been a realization that life has been very important. And Alok, when you ask me this question, I think I am a little emotional in my voice at this age also. Why I'm saying this? The moment this encounter took place, I went to the hospital. I was there in the bandage, and you know what happened? The moment we went there, it was a makeshift sort of a hospital.
Okay.
Nowadays, of course, that place has become a big hospital. So when we went there, they moved in one movable X-ray machine and they did an X-ray. So by the time my arm had swollen very badly.
Okay.
So the doctor brought a blade to cut my shirt so that we could take it out like this and then, do the X-ray. I said, sir, please, ek minute, ruko. He said, kya ho gaya? So I opened my shirt and took out my shirt like this and kept it. He said, yaar, tere ko dard nahi ho raha hai? मैं क्या सर दर्द तो होता है बट सर ये काट के निकाल दोगे ये तो मेरा तोहफा है ना सर इसको मैं बचा के रखूंगा ना इस पे गोलियों के निशान है and that guy used to tell that we are well you can call that I don't know what but this is what the psyche with every soldier and of course then I was supposed to be given 2 months of leave. But then I had to tell because my youngest sister was to get married after a month or so. Some marriage proposals were going on. तो मैंने बोला सर अगर आप 2 महीने छुट्टी दे देंगे तो मेरी छुट्टी ना फिर मुझे बाद नहीं मिलेगी खत्म हो जाएगी मेरी छुट्टी तो आप मुझे थोड़ा सा कुछ 10-15 दिन की छुट्टी दे दो so that I am left with my leave and then I can attend my sister's marriage. Anyway, I went on short leave. And short leave I went back to a place in cantonment Bathinda where my family was staying. So I went to them. My parents were in Bihar. Okay. I am from Bihar. So my father had retired and he had settled down in Bihar. So when I go back to my wife, you see there are a whole lot of issues into that. When such injuries take place, we are put into something called it DI list, dangerously ill list.
Okay.
And the responsibility of the boss, that my boss, the Colonel Saab who is there, is there that he is duty bound to connect with my wife, who is my next of kin, to tell that your husband so-and-so has been injured and he has been placed on DI list. It is his official and moral responsibility to tell personally. Achha. You can't pass it on type.
Okay.
So he called up and those days, telephone connections were not so much. So my neighbor had a telephone connection through various exchanges, So he called up And when my wife came to know that my boss wanted to speak to her, your half of the probably system collapses. कि यार वो आदमी बड़ा अफसर क्यों बात करना चाहता है? You know that every day such incidences happen.
और सबसे पहले हमारे दिमाग में गलत ख्याल आते हैं कि कुछ हो गया होगा.
Anyway, she went there and she spoke to him. And he said कि Sabita is my wife's name. Sabita ऐसा है वैसा है. Jayant ठीक है. She started crying and she said that she dropped the phone.
Okay.
कि मतलब बोलने का क्या मतलब है? Anyway, the neighbor who was there, he spoke and he said, then he came and told my wife that he is perfectly okay. And she said, then why was he saying कि वो ठीक है? क्या हो गया? ये ऐसा हो गया. Anyway, you see, the problem was with my wife was, my parents were in Bihar. They didn't know that their son was injured. And only my wife was intimated. Now my wife wanted to speak to my parents and tell them. But she said that, she was not in a position to tell them because my mother probably or father would have asked कि तुमने बात की है क्या उससे? तुमने उसकी आवाज सुनी? तो मेरे वहां पे जहां पे मेरा सर्जरी हुई थी वहां पे मुझे टेलीफोन लगाया गया था because I used to speak to my wife every day.
Okay.
And this thing was known in the entire sector.
Okay.
And also it was known that, he is the guy, if you call him on the radio set 24 hours of a day, I will pick up the set. I was so open. People used to ask me that कि आप खाते क्या हो, survive कहाँ करते हो, आप तो हमेशा ही on the move होते हो. So I used to literally survive on biscuits in my pocket.
Wow.
I used to pick up biscuits and I used to survive. Anyway, those days were different. So what happened, the third day my wife could hear my voice through that telephone. First day I was in too much of pain after the surgery. Second day I was trying to speak, she couldn't recognize my voice. Third day she could recognize and then she spoke to my parents. And the first question which my mother asked was the same thing. कि तुमने बात किया है? And she said yes. When I went back home during that leave of 10 days, 15 days or something, me and my wife were sitting. I had 3 daughters, small daughters. They probably didn't know also what has happened. And after dinner and all, probably we were sitting close to each other. And my wife asked me a question. Very politely, comfortably. I think those ladies are more braver than what I am.
Oh yes, they are.
And she asked me, he said, तुमको हमारी याद नहीं आती कभी? You keep working through various dangers. आज ये encounter हुआ, ये शाबाशी, वाह, well done, ये done, वो done. सब चीजें होती हैं. But जिस टाइम में तुम्हारा ये एनकाउंटर होता है तो मेरी आवाज नहीं आती तुम्हें. Very subtle, small question.
Yes.
But yes, I told her, of course. I said, नहीं, ऐसा तो कभी नहीं हो सकता यार. I think this strength lies. इसे यार तुम ऐसे बोल रहे हो सीधी सी बात. तो तुम ऐसे क्यों? You don't know that if you are no more, how, what things will happen.
Yes.
I said that, if you would have existed in my thought so prominently, पूरी जहन में तो रहते ही हो आप. बट अगर आप की याद डिस्टर्ब करने लग जाए कि यार मुझे कहीं गोलीबारी में अगर कहीं कुछ हो गया तो उनका क्या होगा, अगर ये ख्याल आएंगे ना तो ख्याल सच हो जाएंगे जरूर. बिकॉज माई फोकस विल नॉट बी देयर. ओके, बट इट इज नॉट. द स्ट्रेंथ विच आई गैदर इज थ्रू यू. सो I said, I'm sure you would not like me to recollect when I'm into the encounter. And not that, you are not. So, there are very small moments, but I think we go through such moments. We become stronger as a bond, as a family.
And yes, safely you can say that, no, at that time I can't recall because I'm focused on this. And अगर ये सही seriously अगर ये सोचने लगे कि उनका क्या होगा तो फिर इनका क्या होगा, ये भी एक बड़ी
yeah. And it is not only you. There are a team of people, okay?
Yes.
They're waiting for your orders.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not only you. So I think these things become part and parcel of you. It is not written anywhere like this. You don't read any book. You don't take out any tool like that and you say, now I can apply this.
Correct.
And you might have practiced and discussed the contingency 1,000 times. When you go on to that and when you meet up with that challenge,
yes,
you end up knowing 1001 style.
And ये जिंदगी में कितनी बार होता है सर कि हम कितनी प्लानिंग कर लेते हैं. हर साल की शुरुआत में प्लानिंग्स होती हैं और जब हम एग्जीक्यूट करने जाते हो तो बिल्कुल ही सब कुछ बदला हुआ मिलता है, सब कुछ चेंज हो जाता है.
उसकी एक फायदा यही होता है कि जब हम लोग सोच के उसको रखते हैं तो हमारे वी आर our body or our consciousness is prepared for various things. You have thought about it.
Yes.
आप perturbed नहीं होते. You don't become vulnerable. In that vulnerability, you get the courage to face it. You convert that vulnerability into a challenge. You say, okay, now I'll do it. So हम लोग जब रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में होती है, इसलिए लोग कहते हैं कि यार आप नया साल शुरू हुआ है, let's plan for it. I think it's a good sign. Think about yourself. रोज सवेरे उठते थे लोग, पहले वो गांव देहात में हर जगह बोलते थे कि सवेरे उठते हुए आप अपनी पूजा पाठ करो, दिन में क्या करना है, शाम को क्या करके आपने क्या किया, अच्छा किया, बुरा किया, एंड विद पीसफुल माइंड आप जाके सो जाओ. ये पहले ऐसे सिखाते थे लोग.
Correct.
It is so pertinent today.
Absolutely.
Of course, we talk in different languages and different styles, but they are I believe in that. So I think those things are important. They make us, planned. Our body somewhere gets planned and tuned to, act to any situation. I think that's very important.
Wonderful. So from an army person doing all these combats and encounters to coming to the corporate world and becoming a coach must have been a journey. What has been your moment of transformation after you retired from the forces?
Well, I suppose, this is a question comes up, and a lot of people ask me also that, sir, you have been in army, you have been in a combat role, you have been in this rank. आप तो वो हुक्म देने वाले कैटेगरी में हो गए थे. ऑर्डर देते थे. Well, it is true also, but we are always part and parcel. It is hierarchical structure. And hierarchy exists everywhere. Where does the hierarchy does not exist? हर जगह होता है. किसी भी जगह पे हो. आप साधुओं के मठ में चले जाइए, वहां पे भी hierarchy है भाई.
जी.
अगर आप भगवानों की लीलाओं को और उनकी परिवारों के बारे में सोचिए, वहां पे भी तो hierarchy है. हर जगह hierarchy है. Okay. So my point is, I want to actually clear this myth कि hierarchical structure है, एक तरह से होती है. हम I think exactly same way हर जगह पे काम करते हैं हम लोग. थोड़ा शेड होता है, बिकॉज हमारा जो पर्पस होता है, जो स्टाइल का काम होता है, अब कोई आईटी वाला अपने स्टाइल से काम करेगा. हाँ. जिसमें मैन पावर इंटेंसिव है वो अपनी तरह से काम करेगा. हम लोग फौजी, हम एक तरह से काम करते हैं. सो हायरार्किकल स्ट्रक्चर एग्जिस्ट, ऑर्डर्स हर जगह होते हैं, हम लोग अपना काम करते हैं. सो आई एक्चुअली दिस पर्टिकुलर इश्यू इज वेरी करेक्ट. हम काम करते हैं, लेकिन शायद एक हमारा इनर कोर जरूर होता है कहीं ना कहीं. ये तो हमें कभी अच्छा थोड़ी लगता है यार कि हमने किसी पे फायर कर दिया. एंड इफ आई मे टेक दैट लिबर्टी ऑफ सेइंग लाइक दैट, मेकिंग अ स्टेटमेंट, आई नेवर डिसरेस्पेक्टेड एनी गाय हु वर एंगेज्ड इन द एनकाउंटर. Okay. Truly speaking, this is my truthful statement. They might have been from anywhere, but I always challenged. I say, if someone has the power, the courage, come and open fire at me. Of course, it was a provocation for them to divulge their position also. The moment they fire, it was a challenge to me that I will not let that initiative cease. I will catch on to that. So my point is that we all are doing our jobs. So as far as my role shifting is concerned, yes, I think if I take my life, I can very distinctly define maybe first part around 20 years or so. It was in the part of, knowing or exploring. You were getting explored. You are being given so-called a name, Jayant Tiwari. फलाने का बेटा है, पढ़ता है, अच्छा है, बच्चा है, ये है, गुड बैड अगली. जी. ये कोई एक्सपीरियंस आता है, एक्सप्लोर होते हैं कहीं पे, हम आइडेंटिटी, सो कॉल्ड आइडेंटिटी क्रिएट होती है. उसके बाद से आई थिंक वो 38 साल 40 साल की 4 decades की जर्नी, आई वेंट टू द आर्मी. एंड आई टुडे ऑल्सो विश इफ समवन कैन पुट ओनली अ कैप्टन स्टार टू मी, I can go back. So much, passion and feelings remained in that 4 decades.
Wow. By the way, were you able to find out which outfit was there, which fired at you?
It was Harkatul Ansar.
Acha.
Yeah. We know the details as to Harkatul Ansar. It got split to other parties and all. It was a foreign machine group. The guy who fired at me was was leading the mission. He was the district commander of Harkatul Ansar. And the two guys who had actually were talking on the set कि तुम आना और मैं तुमको इनको लेके यहाँ से आऊंगा और तुम यहाँ से लेके उनको आगे जाना. That one company commander, battalion commander, both of them had got killed into that. Okay. So it was a big so-called successful mission in that manner. Of course, such missions keep happening every day. So what I was saying that, these 4 decades were at a very peak where I think a great transformation in my life took place. Transformation, of course, takes every day, I think. We need to feel it. One is that the nature is changing, environment is changing, पूरी दुनिया change हो रही है billion of years से. And people say that only constant is the change. हर चीज change हो रही है, हम भी change हो रहे हैं. But I always felt that I must need and realize this. कि वो change के process में हम हैं, I cannot stop that change. But जो मेरे में change होना है, should it be automatically what the system is wanting me to do? Or should I become a catalyst in my own change? That's very important. और थोड़ी सी सोच की जरूरत है, कोई ज्यादा कोई बहुत बड़े ज्ञान की जरूरत नहीं है. And that's why those 4 decades were very important. And one moved through various assignments, appointments. I was posted in UN mission in Iraq, where I was post commander in Iraq, and my post was fired upon. And then I had to evacuate one of the military observers. He was, I think, from somewhere in the Southeastern Asian countries, I don't recollect. And he had got a bullet in his thighs, and it was in the night. And there was hue and cry that how will you, evacuate that? And I picked up that observer, military officer, in my car. I drove 12-13 kilometers up to the Kuwait border. And people were surprised, hey, how can you drive alone without a protection?
Wow.
I said, sir, ये रोज होता है हमारी जिंदगी में आर्मी में. आप चिंता मत करो, don't worry about it. Such issues are there. What I'm trying to say is that it actually made me into a very, very balanced personality, I suppose. And when people look at the Fauji, they said that yes, strong man, this, जो भी है, वो सब अच्छा है. But उस चट्टान के पीछे ना बहुत बहुत इमोशनैलिटी होती है. आई एम नॉट सेइंग, आई थिंक लाइफ की वैल्यू शायद मुझसे ज्यादा और कौन जानता होगा, जानते होंगे लोग, आई एम नॉट डिनाइंग दैट फैक्ट. बट मी और पीपल लाइक मी, यू हैव बीन सो मच क्लोजली एसोसिएटेड. इट इज नॉट दैट यू आर नॉट इन लव विद द फैमिली, you are in love fully with your family, because you know what is the pleasure of that love. Absolutely. When you are away, when you are into that emotions, so you can actually gauge. So I always say that हमसे ज्यादा कौन जानता है जिंदगी की सच्चाइयों के बारे में, और सोल्जर की इमोशनैलिटी को कौन जानता है. एंड आई ऑलवेज टेल कि यार हम जो है ना पत्थर की तरह तो जरूर होते हैं, लेकिन अंदर जो है ना शायद आपसे ज्यादा मुलायम है, हमारी सेंसिटिविटी बहुत ज्यादा है. So that is the personality which got evolved. And when I come to the third stage as to what I am, when from academy, Indian Military Academy, when you finish your training, and you're very happy, 1 star. That those days, we used to get 1 star, second lieutenant. Nowadays, people get 2 stars. Second lieutenant, you get commissioned. You're very happy, jubilant mood. Your parents are there, and you're enjoying. अफसर हो गए. एंड देन उसके बाद से यू जनरली एंड अप राइटिंग अ डेमी ऑफिशियल लेटर. 2-3 लाइन का, जिस यूनिट में आप कमीशन, लाइक आई वाज कमीशन इनटू गोरखा राइफल्स इन वन ऑफ द यूनिट्स इन द 1st Battalion of 5th गोरखा राइफल्स फ्रंटियर फोर्स. दैट्स वाज माय यूनिट. सो यू जनरली राइट, लोगों से पूछते हो अपने बॉसेस से डायरेक्टली साथ से कि सर हमने लिखना है, ये कैसे लिखना है, तो दे टेल यू मस्ट राइट अ DO लेटर लाइक दिस टू योर सो एंड सो. तो आई हैड दैट लेटर एग्जिस्ट इन माय फाइल टुडे. आई हैव दैट लेटर. उसमें वो 2-3 लाइन अपने टेढ़ी मेढ़ी हाथ से लिखा था कि आई फील ग्रेट प्रिविलेज्ड टू बी कमीशन्ड इन वन ऑफ द फाइनेस्ट इन्फेंट्री बटालियंस ऑफ इंडियन आर्मी, दोस फ्लॉरी लैंग्वेजेस, एंड आई अश्योर यू दैट आई विल लिव अप टू एवरी मोमेंट ऑफ ट्रेडिशंस ऑफ दिस एंड ऑल. 4-5 जो बताया होता है लोगों ने वो लिखा होता है. ओके. तो ऐसा लिख के भेजते हैं. उसका जवाब जो आया ना, मेरे जो सीनियर थे, ही वॉज विद 3.5 years of service दैट टाइम. ओके. सुन के लगेगा यार इतना सीनियर तो कुछ नहीं है. He wrote in 3.5 pages of typed letter reply to me. Okay. That letter also exists with me, and I read it now. It's so great. And in that he has written the entire history of the battalion and various issues. And there 1 or 2 lines which he wrote, which is why I'm saying that this is a hallmark of my existence. And he wrote that Jayant, we all feel great of becoming also a successful completion of training. Your putting 1 star is just mere recognition of your successful completion of training at Indian Military Academy. Period. Forget about that period henceforth. He said, now you are embarking on a journey of leadership. Here, no one will give you the result. And no one will tell you that you are under test. No one will teach you. But you must realize that you are going to lead these men. They will not even think twice about their lives. So you are going to lead that category of people. So start thinking that every moment you are under test and no one else is testing, you have to carry out your own test.
Wow, goodness.
And this was so profound to me. And it just changed my... And I'm telling you, Alok, when I read that, I felt a little funny. I said, come on, yaar. You are going with so much exuberance that man should, say that good, come, nice, and then you could have told. At the first phase of it, I was not very happy to read. I said, such a negative man.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, Alok, when I grew up in service, I said, what profound it is. I think it started clicking in my head, whether it was so-called leadership, I don't know what, that when people say that what is the difference, between a soldier and maybe a civilian friend of yours. I say somewhere that setting in that clock or timer was set into my head of something. Not that I'm there and I can say that I am ready to die for the nation. I don't believe in such statements personally. But yes, you are somewhere consciously, you started getting focused towards the role. That's what it is. You started falling in love with your command, with the people.
Absolutely. And I was reading something recently, and it said that you should not regret your failures for too long, and you should also not say.
Oh yes.
Was talking about the same.
Yes. And when I retired, of course, then I of course was wanting to probably my style. I wanted to pick up a job and all. I was getting some good jobs offers, but somehow I didn't join. And I thought what to do. And then I went into doing some courses. I was in a very highly confused state. And I love saying that today I'm in a very highly confused. I love to be in a little confused state. Confused in the sense that I'm very inspirational through that confusion. Because I'm constantly now trying to search for myself, search something more. Because now I'm on my own. Now I'm my own. And when I say that, my first phase of my life was probably exploring something. My second phase of life was probably somewhere experiencing, empowering, or embodying or something. Today I'm in probably a stage where I'm probably seeking somewhere some excellence from one step to other, discovering myself. And that's where I came into doing कि क्या करूं. वो हर आदमी की अपनी अपनी भाषाएं होती हैं कि आपको क्या अच्छा लगता है. And that's where I did a corporate mentorship program. Then I went for doing an employability mentorship. I was not very happy inside me. They were all very productive cases, of course. But then I came across and I did an assignment with the International Coach Federation with one of the academies. I did a lot of certifications with them. And that's where they used to call their InnerMost shift coach.
Okay.
And that's where it is that every coach is a coach. Though, of course, we call it leadership, performance, and motivation coach. And, well, they all have it. I personally feel, with my little experience of life, that people say that you are what your thoughts are. Simple. It is so simple. और हम लोग किसी दूसरे को देखते हैं तो खुश हो जाते हैं कि यार, oh, you are looking so good. Picture hall में बैठे हैं and we suddenly become emotional about it. Okay? Or when we are with a good friend or, family, someone comes up. What are these actually? They are all actually the part of NLP. What I did my certification again, neuro-linguistic programming, modeling, anchoring, and mindset creation, mindfulness. They are all part of the same life. So I did my certification. I felt very happy. And I'm in the process of coaching and mentoring people. And then I went on to, I keep reading. I was not a good reader. I was not a person to be clinged on to books.
Okay.
But today, I love to be surrounded with books. This is a great transformation and I love it. I keep reading and I keep doing something and I keep getting engaged with people for certain talks or something like that. I recently finished a lot of people with the behavioral change, emotional intelligence, success. So I think this is the element which exists with every one of us. And I think this is the element which we need to be very, very carefully conscious about it. I personally feel so. बाकी ठीक है यार, हल्ला गुल्ला करें, पार्टी करें, शोर शराबा करें, जोश करें, एंड यू नो वी कैन डू एनीथिंग, बट एक बार अपने से बात करना बहुत जरूरी है शायद थोड़ा सा। और ये हम लोग कहते हैं यार कि चलते हैं, एक बार हम लोग पहाड़ों में चलते हैं, थोड़ा हॉलीडे करके आते हैं, दे आर ऑल व्हाट एक्चुअली वी आर ट्राइंग टू सीक देयर, एंड आई थिंक दैट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। द अदर डे आई वाज मेंशनिंग यू दैट well, I don't like to use that word, of course, you know, that spirituality or something like that.
Okay.
Because it gets taken कि अच्छा वो आप तो किसी और ही लेवल की बात कर रहे हो आप. No, you're not. I said that highest spiritual person in anyone's life is what? Is the child. I take it.
Yeah.
बिल्कुल मस्त है यार. He is totally with a pure abstract love in him or her. Yes. And he or she is in a high state of spiritualism. It not necessarily, he is totally clear about it without adulteration. You know, we have the right to describe the way I like it. And that's where this spirituality or, you know, self-awareness और हमें clarity के साथ में अगर कहीं हम देख सकें कि हमें क्या करना है. और दूसरा क्या है कि I think I always got a point to see, वो कहते हैं ना कि मैं क्या किस चीज की अपने आप में तलाश कर रहा हूँ, क्या चीज डिस्कवर करता हूँ. Not that, you know, with my gray hairs, I deliberately don't diet, of course. I'm as young as anyone else. But okay. I always feel, but this thought process has been from my very beginning, I suppose. This way I used to think. And when I was saying, yes, I missed out on one. When I said that microbiology, of course, that letter in class 5 made me into an army man. And my, you know, thinking of becoming a microbiologist, reading of the cells, today I'm actually reading on that. Wow. As to why I think like that. You know, there are books like, you know, Biology of Belief and Molecules of Emotion. So, you know, why it happens actually like that. So maybe that, you know, that particular period, I'm now reading it again in a different format. तो कहीं ना कहीं पे वो मिलाप तो होता है when people say that, you know, larger consciousness is there and you are part of it or something. I'm not so well read, so I really cannot make, but yes, I can certainly make a statement about myself. So I think we all must be careful for thinking ourselves. I'm not saying that people must become serious. No. You must enjoy life and you must enjoy every bit of life. But think about it, certainly. That's what it is.
Yeah, look, and so rightly you said that I think the most evolved creatures are the small kids because they do something which we all miss to do. See, most of us live our lives either in the past regrets or in the future worries. The kids are the one who live in present. That's where the whole power is. They are in the state of awareness. They play like that. And I have a little one in my house. I can totally vouch for it. So such an inspiring conversation, sir.
एक चीज आलोक मैं बताऊंगा कि you know हमारी प्रोसेस में क्या होता है कि हम लोग बचपन से बड़े होते हैं, हम आइडेंटिफाई होते जाते हैं.
जी.
I became Jayant Tiwari, son of so and so, army officer, this and यहाँ रहते हैं, वो ऐसा है वैसा है. और वैसे हम बन जाते हैं. माँ बाप बोलते हैं कि बहुत अच्छा बच्चा है हमारा, बहुत गुस्सा करता है, हम वैसे ही बन जाते हैं प्रॉब्लम. वैसे ही बन के उसके बाद हम आर्मी ऑफिसर बन के, अच्छा मेरा बेटा तो आर्मी ऑफिसर है, फलाना है, ढिमकाना है. फिर हम आर्मी ऑफिसर, यू नो आर्मी ऑफिसर इज सपोज टू बी डिसिप्लिन, सो यू बिकम डिसिप्लिन, यू नो स्टार्ट टेलिंग योरसेल्फ. हम आर्मी कर्नल बन गए, ब्रिगेडियर बन गए, जनरल बन गए, सो यू बिकम लाइक दैट. योर आइडेंटिटी गेट्स क्रिएटेड.
करेक्ट.
एंड आफ्टर दैट आई हैव रीच्ड अ स्टेज, or we all reach a stage where we want to, you know, unlearn all those things, throw away those shackles, not for anyone else. Not that I dislike, of course I have earned that Shaurya, I have earned that brigadiership, but उसको पहने हुए भी क्या मेरी हरकतें, मेरी बर्ताव, मेरा बिहेवियर एक बहुत प्योर तरीके से एग्जिस्ट कर सकता है कि नहीं कर सकता.
Absolutely.
That is the line where it must exist. Otherwise वो आइडेंटिटी जो है ना, आपके रास्ते में बाधा नहीं आनी चाहिए, आपकी और मेरे बात करने की या किसी से बात करने की. जब मैं आज भी गांव जाता हूं तो रहना नहीं चाहिए वो.
Correct. In fact, I can tell you my experience. When I first decided to call you, मुझे ना थोड़ा सा ओवरवेल्म था. I'm going to talk to a brigadier. मतलब मैंने तो कभी बात ही नहीं करी. मैं लास्ट मेरा recent exposure जो हुआ है वो स्क्वाड्रन लीडर से हुआ है. She was a guest in my show. तो मुझे लग रहा था कि मैं बात करूंगा, बट व्हेन आई स्पोक टू यू एंड देन व्हेन यू आस्क्ड मी कि यू नो कॉल मी जेके, तभी से मेरे को ये फीलिंग आ गई आई एम टॉकिंग टू समबडी जस्ट सीनियर टू मी, मे बी इन माय होल सेम इंडस्ट्री, एंड टुडे इफ गिवन अ चांस I'll go to you for my mentorship. I'll take you as my coach.
We
So
all are
you have
mentors.
made me so comfortable, and I think everybody who's listening to this episode would feel the same. So tell me one thing: if somebody wants to reach out to you to connect with you and take your help in their journeys, because I think you can be a very inspiring catalyst in anybody's growth. How can we reach you? What is the best way to find you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Brigadier Jayant Tiwari. I think it is written Brigadier Jayant JK Tiwari.
I'll share the link.
This is where it is.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook as Jayant Tiwari. Facebook I am primarily for purposes of getting engaged with people. Otherwise, it is only for the purposes so that I can connect with people. But yes, the point is, I heartily desire that people must connect with me. Okay? And I love to see, I was thinking today, Alok, तो मैं कहता हूँ कि यार आप जब गुलाब के, आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू say that मैं गुलाब का फूल जैसा हूँ, please no, not at all. I am not so enriched, empowered, but मैं शायद I am not as empowered the way you are, Alok, that you can speak in that manner. You are a great man. But I am saying कि जब हम लोग गुलाब को देख के खुशी महसूस करते हैं, वो एक अनुभूति होती है, शायद उसके रंग के, उसके जो कुछ भी हो, शायद कोई मुझे मिले तो उसके अंदर में ऐसा एहसास पैदा हो सके. आई थिंक दैट इज द अल्टीमेट which I can get it.
Wow.
Through meeting people. So I only request people. I'm not saying that I'm this certification, that, but yes, I have seen my own experiences. I'm only trying to see that what is the scientific reason, so that I can say with conviction that this is, yes, it is. And I have reasons. Like, I talked about mindfulness, creation of mindset, leadership development, any resource building. कि मुझे यहाँ पे रुकावट होती है, ये होता है, all the related issues of life. And coaching state platform is one. I am trained NLP practitioner. I'm into the mentorship. So anyone can approach, and do not ever hesitate. Any levels, whether non-working woman, housewife, or college-going child, or someone who's aspiring to getting into the army, or in any domain. I have done an employability mentorship myself program. How to approach for a job. Rather, I used to always call that if I write or speak about the employability, I will only give the caption, why not to run for that job.
Wow.
It is not the job, because job is a very, very small, I'll not call it insignificant. It's got a very small significance in your existence. Yes, money is important. So my point is, any domain or the mid-career level or even the senior levels, after we all learn from each other. That's why I give an example of a small child. We forget in our life.
Yeah.
So we all learn from each other. Anyone can approach me and drop a line on the LinkedIn. And I can only put in one word. Don't get worried, that Brigadier साहब ने इतना अपनी learning करते हैं क्या है. Don't get worried about the money, okay? I can just put it in a public domain.
Okay. Thank you for
I have my more, I derive more happiness in, if someone feels empowered. I am not one to empower anyone. It is वो उनकी अपनी की अंदर की बात वो खुद जगाते हैं. अगर वो खुद जगा के अपने आप को बना सकें, that's great about it.
That's a great way to look at it as well. And since it is possible that this video will go live on the Republic Day, which is 26th of this month, is there any message on? I think the word patriotism is mingled these days. Different meaning for different people. What it stands for you? If there is a message you would like to give to the listeners.
Well, it is so simple. You be what you are. That's all I think. अपने आप को जानो. And हमारी association जो है, I might be known as Jayant Tiwari, Brigadier Jayant Tiwari, and you may be something, whatever it is. But we all are part and parcel of, the entire universe. And of course, we are part of India. And that's where I think we need to associate for at least that nation, if not for the entire globe. I think that's where one message is there. Secondly, I would like to say that we have a lot of responsibility towards our nation. And that responsibility is that how much we are aware as citizens. We must be aware to, know as to what is my responsibility. How many of us we know what is the preamble of the Constitution of India? at least we must read that preamble once. So I think we must live for our nation, and that's what it is, and try and remain as pure and as simple and enjoy your life. That's what the message would be.
That's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for finding this time today to talk to us, to my audience, and coming on the WeTransform show. This is a very enriching experience for me personally, and I'm your fan from today onwards. So thank you so much again, and thanks for joining today, sir.
Thanks a lot, Alok, and thank you for your team. And my best wishes गणतंत्र दिवस पे सब लोगों को और हमारे देशवासियों को और आपकी टीम को. And all the best to you, Alok. It was a great session as far as I am concerned. Thank you very much.